You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
I'm Clint. Three windows are back. This is Ethan. Ethan is host of Locked On Pirates here on the Locked On Podcast Network. So he knows today's episode is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Ethan, welcome to the show. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm probably confusing a lot of people with my background right now, considering I'm wearing all Georgia stuff, and then have the Steelers Super Bowl championship banner right here. Patiently waiting for my Jordan Davis jersey to come in. That we will not tell everybody how I'm getting it, but it's very fun on how I got it. But I'm excited to be here. I listen to you guys every day. You're part of the network, best network in the world.
Yeah. So though he is a Pirates fan and a Steelers fan, Ethan also a diehard Georgia fan, and great to have him on the show. And Clint, that's what the podcast is all about, isn't it?
It's quite literally fans talking like fans do with other fans. That's why we started this podcast. That's why we love it so much. We're not gurus or insiders. We talk like fans to fans, like you would at a tailgate or somewhere else. And Ethan fits right within that mold. I find it fascinating. Every guest we have on, I find it fascinating. Sports fandom is this like universal language that goes across. We were talking a little bit about where Ethan was from, where is he living, what he's doing. It doesn't matter because when you talk like fans, it's like this brotherhood, this sisterhood that comes in. So yes, we don't take ourselves too seriously nor each other. We like having fun, and we invite you to as well, listener.
Yeah, thanks for being here. LockedOnBulldogs@gmail.com is the email address. @Dawgs Podcast is the Twitter handle. You can find Ethan on Twitter as well, Locked On Pirates. And what's your personal Twitter?
MVP_Ethan. And if you guys also don't mind being a avid listener of the podcast every single day, I figured I should go ahead and tell your lovely people about the wonderful stories of Charlotte, North Carolina on Friday night.
Oh,
I actually tried to meet you guys.
Ethan was at the Chili's.
That's right. There. I was there, and I saw the tomfoolery. I saw everything going on. Me and my mom were just trying to eat. They said it was going to be a 45-minute wait, and then they said they closed in 45 minutes, which made no sense. So this is an Applebee's podcast. I don't care. This is an Applebee's podcast. We ended up getting, I think, cookout or something after the fact because we were like, we're not waiting here. But it's funny because I just started listening to the pod like right before, and then I recognized your voices, but I never saw your faces. So was the whole. I was like, I hear them, but I don't see them.
Oh, that's so magical.
And then I don't remember if you guys remember too, but that volleyball group that came in a little bit after the fact,
there was
like 45 people, and I was like, that's not going to happen, dude.
We're
not in a million years.
The podcast gets off the rails in the first 3 minutes every single day, but rarely does it get off the rails talking about a random high school volleyball team in Charlotte at a Chili's on a Friday night in September. But yeah, I was there.
Very slender.
I was there. Ethan was there. Clint was there. John from yesterday's episode was there. Executive producer, intern Michael was there. Justin was there. Emily was there. Some guy whose name I don't remember was there. It's all everybody was there together. Thanks for jumping on. If you're listening to this, subscribe to the audio podcast. And then go on over, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Trying to grow that. And as we said, get to 1,000 subscribers by the SEC championship game. So, Ethan, let's just start with some big picture thoughts about this Georgia Bulldogs team. Firstly, if this Georgia Bulldogs team played this current Pittsburgh Steelers team, who would win and why would it be Georgia by so much?
Well, the offense right now for the Steelers is not even averaging, I don't think, 24 points a game. So that would be an immediate problem. It would depend on stopping the run, which is something Georgia does very well, very clearly. And let me go ahead and add, by the way, since we like to throw shots at our rivals here on this podcast.
Here we go.
How do you only have, I believe it was 14 rushing yards against a team that fired their head coach only a couple weeks ago?
Ooh.
I don't even need to talk. I don't even need to tell you the team to know about what happened on Saturday.
Oh no!
I mean, Georgia could be there. Just depends on what Big Ben you get and which one you're getting. We're
That's true.
4-0 when he doesn't throw an interception. We're 0-3 when he does. So it depends on which one you get. But Darion Kendrick would probably have something to say about that as well as Nolan Smith.
Could be. All right. Let's focus in on Georgia. All joking aside, now you've been watching this team this whole year. What's been the most fun part of this year's unit for you? Whether it's a particular player, a particular scheme that we're running, a particular phase of the game. What's been the most fun aspect to this 2021 Bulldog squad?
One, the idea that I remember during the preseason, it was kind of who's going to be involved in the linebacker core, and every single linebacker is involved in this linebacker core. Nolan Smith, I mean, all of them. N'Kobe Dean, Channing Tindall, probably the most surprising player, honestly, on this entire team. And then I think that Jordan Davis gets a bunch of love on that defensive line for good reason, but the guys around him also they just feed off of his energy. It's almost like you go into a room and Jordan Davis is there and he's just vibing, and then everybody else is like, well, if he's vibing, we're going to vibe too. And he's kind of the guy where sometimes you hear NFL players say, well, if there's two on me, there's one on him. That's kind of what you see with this defensive line is they always center in on Jordan Davis. We got to stop this guy. And then you got the outside linebackers. You got everybody just coming down on you to the point where, I mean, it's kind of interesting right now. And this is what I bring up to people. And this is something, especially being from the Pittsburgh area, that I said, take Kenny Pickett for a second and just plop him in the Georgia offense. Is this the best team ever constructed if Kenny Pickett is the quarterback of the UGA Bulldogs without a JT Daniels or Stetson Bennett in the mix?
Possibly. It's the best team ever constructed currently.
I was just going to say,
it still would be.
You add him, we're great on both sides right now. We're second in the yards and scoring on offense, and then on defense, we're the best ever. Like just go get statistics. Anyone to bring. So yes, absolutely.
And I will say this is the funnest UGA team I've ever watched. I mean, running back wise, you could throw Zamir in there. You could throw Cook in there. You could throw McIntosh in there. And that's not even counting the guys that you have behind them that you could also throw in there in garbage time to keep these guys healthy, keep them moving, keep them rolling. And then, again, you guys always bring up the receivers. One of my favorite players on this team, Lad McConkey. Can't get over the guy. Love him. He's amazing. Brock Bowers comes in. Nobody gives him offers realistically. He comes from California, and now look at him. He's one of the best tight ends in the country as a freshman. We get two more years of Brock Bowers. 2 more.
That's
at least.
I don't think people understand when you're talking about
senior year.
Brock Bowers at Napa. Like you don't get kids out of there. I said this one time, being from the West Coast, being from California, you don't get kids from that area. It's small schools. He probably could have trounced on everybody, which is why he was getting overlooked more than likely, because he was like head and shoulders above everybody, but everybody is lower than people down in the South, talent-wise. But Kirby saw something and plucked him out of there, and that was a huge coup. Like he is look at him. He's just all world at tight end.
And then that's the thing, too, with Brock Bowers is tight ends. I love tight ends. They're always my favorite players because they're nitty-gritty. They do the dirty work. That's not even counting the fact that you have a literal monster that will be in the nightmares of defenses behind him in Darnell Washington. And you're getting all these guys healthy. Kearis Jackson's coming back and getting healthy. You're getting a lot of these guys back healthy like a Darnell Washington. I always say this, too. It's Georgia number 1. Tell me who the second best team in the country is right now definitively. You can't.
You can't do it.
And I'm going to do that. What team is beating this team? As of right now. That's where I really think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Ethan. You go back and watch if you just want to have a great time. Kearis Jackson runs a jet sweep in the game last Saturday against Missouri. Just go back, and he gains about 20 yards on the play. It's a great play by Kearis. Good to see him healthy. Good to see him running around out there on the field again. Go watch what Darnell Washington does to a defensive back on that play in the blocking game. Just go watch how it's not – listen, Clint and I say this to each other a lot. It's not exactly sportsmanlike what Darnell Washington does to that guy. Like, it wasn't a penalty, but I wouldn't call it sportsmanlike if I were going to classify it. He absolutely abuses people in the run game, and that's just You just add to the weapons. Georgia
Mrs.
just
Smart
throws weapons at you.
Mrs. Smart came down on two things: Kirby for the F-bomb that was on the mic, and then she walked immediately over to Big O and said, "You need to go apologize to that young man across the locker room." It was filthy. It was dirty. Everything you just said is dead on, which is what makes this team so thrilling and exciting. Ethan, couldn't agree more. We're going to come back. We're going to ask more questions of Ethan, but first, I want to let you know about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is your online sports experts for daily fantasy made easy. PrizePicks.com. It's got a great app. They are secure with deposits. They pay quick cash outs. You can get them on an app, award-winning app on the iOS store, as well as Google Play. PrizePicks daily fantasy made easy for college football. You can do mixed sports as well. Any prop you can think of, they will give to you. So you make it up. It's you versus the number. And right now they're giving you 100% deposit match up to $100. Whatever amount you put in, they're going to match it 100% up to $100. So I would encourage you put $100 in. You get $100 on top of that. Daily fantasy made easy.
Sorry to cut you off. What if I were to put in $41? Let's say.
Sure, they would match $41 on top of that, Daniel. So if let's say you put 41, then it'd be 82. But more importantly, would be I think 41 is
you get 41 extra dollars. You wouldn't get $0 extra dollars, but you get 41 extra dollars, not zero.
Not zero. PrizePicks.com. Put in the promo code Locked On. Get 100% deposit right on top. Also, want to let you know about McDonald's. McDonald's is the place to go after a Little League game, after a long road trip, in the middle of a long road trip. It is a fantastic place. They've been in the community since a long time, guys. They are not just a great place. It's official. Long time is an official time. Don't just think that these McDonald's places are a place to go to get good quality, cheap food. It is not just that. They are in the community. They are here for you. They have dependable Wi-Fi. They have great places, endless fries and McFlurries for days, ice cream, whatever you want. I know Ethan's been on road trips down to see Georgia play, to different places, up to Pittsburgh to see the Pirates play. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. But look, here's the deal. McDonald's is a great place to go. Anybody say Locked On Bulldogs watch party at McDonald's?
I think I heard John Tweet Sports say that last episode.
Look, John Tweet Sports, but he can't bring his whiskey collection into that watch party.
Sure, he cannot. He puts it in a McDonald's cup.
Well, now we're talking. Ethan's a pro at this. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
I was going to try to slide in some reference to 41 chicken McNuggets in that ad read, but I couldn't work it in. All right, Ethan. You kind of alluded to this in the last segment, but I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to force you to name a team. Okay? Georgia is in the national championship game, and they are playing fill in the blank. And this is the team that makes you the most nervous that Georgia could be facing in the national championship game for a chance to win it all.
Right now?
Sure.
Ohio State.
Okay, and why?
Just because if you look across the other teams that are around them, I'm sorry, Oregon's offense doesn't scare me. CJ Verdal can do whatever he wants. Cool. Awesome. He can run amok all he wants. Have fun. Michigan State, obviously, I think they're going to lose to Ohio State. Michigan, I think they're going to lose to Ohio State. Cincinnati can only beat Navy and Tulsa by 7 points. I'm all for Cincinnati getting there just because it's an easier road for us, but it's just not going to happen. And then Alabama, to me, I've said this to people, that is our national championship game. If you beat Alabama in the SEC championship game, that is their national championship game. The only thing that worries me about Ohio State is if you get the good CJ Stroud, because he's been inconsistent a lot this year, and he gets those weapons that he has on the outside, like Jackson Smith and Jigba. If he gets those guys going, that's a little different because they can spread you out and stuff like that. But who's to say that they do it? They're the only team that I see right now that's somewhat scares me, but it's like a 10%. Like it's like 10%. I honestly would say I'm still more scared of Bama than Ohio State just off of name recognition alone. But if you had to tell me who the number 2 team is right now, it's probably Ohio State.
Yeah, I said a while ago that Oklahoma scared me now that they got Caleb back there. But actually, a couple more weeks of watching them, I'm not too terrified. actually. Like, I've come down off that. I think they came out of the gate really strong, but looking across their defense and looking across the rest of the skill positions and Bama, I mean, you want to talk about a suspect offensive line against our biggest strength, which is getting pressure. Like, come on, big boy, let's go. Let's dance, because I'm thrilled.
Saban doesn't have a second quarterback to throw in there this time to throw us off. Who's Bama's backup quarterback?
It's too soon. Ethan, it's too soon. It's too soon. We can't talk about Alabama backup quarterbacks on this podcast. Not a safe place.
I'm about to
safe place.
I'm about to tear up.
It's not a safe place.
I'll hide my face for the next 30 seconds. But yeah, I would say Ohio State right now, and that's coming from a person whose father is a diehard Michigan fan. So,
ooh, he's a Michigan man.
It's going to be an awkward Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Real awkward. We talked yesterday to John Tweet Sports about this defense and how Tennessee is going to match up against us. Now that you're talking about where we're going, what do you think struggle-wise about offenses? And you just listed a couple of offenses that have some high-flying skill position quarterbacks. You're not scared of anybody until the national championship or the SEC championship with Alabama. Does that non-fear translate to this week as well against Tennessee? What are your feelings about this game?
I think Kirby Smart gets his boys ready for every single game as if they were playing the best team in the country, saying, okay, you guys, it's a different challenge every week. And Tennessee is a different challenge, as I heard John yesterday say as well. They just run tempo. That is what they do. And again, this score, well, I can't point correctly.
There you go.
There it is.
There we go.
Nailed it.
I'm getting it. That score over there is in their minds. You know it is. It happened 2 years ago. It's in their mind. It has to be. Of course, Hupel wasn't here when it happened. I don't think he was. No, he was not. Okay. Sorry, I had a little brain fart. But Tennessee can put up points. Can they put up more than 13 points against his defense? Nobody else has done it. Nobody else has done it all year. I'm not saying that they can't, but also their defense, not good. Not that great. No. And, I mean, realistically, cool, you beat Kentucky last week. You might end up being the second best team in the SEC East, but I mean, like the second best team in the SEC East right now is like a 5-way race, if I'm not mistaken. I mean,
it's everyone except Florida is a contender for the second best team in the SEC East. Officially.
Throw Vandy in there too. Why not?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, listen, that Florida did beat Vandy, so they have the head-to-head. But I think if things fall Vandy's way, they could still sneak back in there.
Oh, yeah. But going back to Tennessee, though, I mean, I expect them to come out of the gates hot. I think they're going to come out, especially if they get the ball first. I think they'll come out and kind of catch us off guard a little bit and maybe get kind of like the Auburn game. If you remember the Auburn game, that first drive Auburn had, it was kind of throwing us off with the whole Bo Nix experience. Trust me, that is an experience for you Auburn fans that may be here in the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
But they know.
They're still here, by the way.
Yeah, they are still here. I see your comments sometimes. Trust me, I can see them. I just choose to ignore them half the time. I don't usually comment on these because I don't want to get into a rabbit hole. But I could see Tennessee, like if we're going to go into betting and stuff, whatever the first quarter spread is, I could see Tennessee covering that.
Okay.
Because I think it kind of catches them off guard at first, but then I think they're just going to flip a switch like they did in the Florida game. Second quarter comes, Kirby and all of them get the adjustments they need. And if you had to tell me how many points Georgia's going to win by, I don't know the spread exactly, but I would bet on them to cover.
20 points is the spread.
I would bet on them to cover that. I think 21 to 24 is a good number.
You love to see it.
I know locks is tomorrow, but I'll throw a Wednesday.
Look, early locks.
Throw an early log on the fire. That's all right. We got to get it warmed up for the people.
Oh yeah, of
that's
course.
Good. All right, we'll be back. We've got more questions. We got more to talk about. I want to get into some all-time Georgia Bulldogs that are on Ethan's list. Some favorite players of all times. But first, I want to tell you about Built Bar. It's the best tasting protein bar on planet Earth. Ethan knows this because he's tried them all. I know this. Clint knows this. We are all Built Bar aficionados by this point. Look at the man's got it on the YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, right now. Locked On Bulldogs
Here.
YouTube. That's the reason you should get over here. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar on planet Earth. They're high in fiber. They're high in protein. They're low in sugar. They're keto approved. They're good for whatever meal plan that you are on, pre-workout, post-workout, on your way to the gym, coming back from the gym. BuiltBar.com, enter the promo code LOCKEDON15, and you'll get 15% off your order. BuiltBar.com, enter the promo code LOCKEDON15, and you'll get 15% off your order right now. Also want to tell you about BetOnline.ag. They are your online sportsbook experts. If you want to go place a wager on the Dawgs minus 20, as Ethan told you to do, you can do that right now at betonline.ag. And if you're wrong, just send him a direct message on Twitter, and he will personally refund whatever it is that you've wagered. He's making that sweet Locked On Pirates money, and so you know that he is good for it. BetOnline.ag, again, is your online sportsbook experts. They're the place that we go to place all of our wagers on the Locks Pod tomorrow. And if you go there right now and enter the promo code Locked On, you're going to get a 50% bonus on your initial deposit, which means if you deposit $100, they will give you $50 free dollars. It means that if you deposit $82, Clint, how many free dollars are they going to give you?
No, hold on. Wait a second, Daniel. But 82 is 41.
They'll give you
over
41 free dollars. That's right. And so you'll have 41 extra dollars.
What happens when you divide 41 by 0?
You get zero. So you get $0. BetOnline.ag. They are your online sportsbook experts, and they are the place that you should go to place all of your wagers. Enter the promo code Locked On for a 50% bonus on your initial deposit.
You're going to start. You're going to do all time, and I mean, you're just going to go straight for the heart of the matter. What has happened there, Ethan?
I don't.
You can't see it, but it's a 4.
41. Oh,
there we go.
Listen, the visual aids. The visual aids.
Where's 41 in the podcast? You guys for the rest of the week should.
We should hide it somewhere.
For the freaking win. Yes, that's what we're doing.
Put it in the whiskey bottle, like in the background. Some of this. We don't have enough memorabilia, Ethan. I don't know if you know that, but that's something we're trying to work on. You've got a Steelers Super Bowl championship banner back there, so that's nice. All right. Colin, you can take some notes, by the way, if you want to be up on the visual. If you want to be up on the visual aids, Ethan came locked and loaded with the Built Bars and everything. Let's get it together. All right. Yeah, Clint. Here's the things that I want to know from you. Appreciated your thoughts on the Tennessee game, your thoughts on the Georgia team this year, but let's talk big picture, and let's just go favorite Bulldogs of all time. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball. So favorite Bulldog all time on the offensive side of the ball, Ethan.
Probably either Malcolm Mitchell, Todd Gurley, or Sony Michel.
I love those names. Oh my gosh, yes. Malcolm Mitchell. He started with Malcolm Mitchell, like the unheralded, just workhorse kind of guy out there. We love Malcolm Mitchell. Yes, that's exactly right.
I could also throw Hines Ward in there too.
I know it was a layup, man. It was a layup. Yeah, I was trying to get. It was just a spoon feeding you.
Steelers, there you go.
Yeah, Super Bowl MVP.
Let's not talk about Jarvis Jones though. You don't want to talk.
No, but
college Jarvis.
College Jarvis.
Yeah, college Jarvis was great until I bought his Steelers jersey, and then everything decided it wanted.
Best college linebacker, not the greatest pro career. All right, defensive side of the ball though. Favorite Bulldog of all time, and why is it Nakobe Dean?
Nakobe Dean is definitely up there. Jordan Davis is there as well. Roquan Smith is also there. I love Roquan Smith, probably to me one of, if not the best linebackers to ever play the game.
Ever.
Whenever we played Oklahoma in that elusive Sugar Bowl game, the things he was doing in that game, I was like, he's on a different planet. Like, he literally said, Baker, cool, you had your fun first half. Now I'm going to literally eat you like my breakfast tomorrow after I'm celebrating with a bunch of sugar in my pancakes. He said that. That's basically what he was doing. And, I mean, realistically, too, you look at some of the other guys that, I mean, NFL-wise that I've seen pan out. Alec Ogletree was another guy that I really liked. Chicago Bear now, I believe.
With Roquan Smith.
A guy that I actually haven't heard you guys mention in a while, Azeez Ojulari. Boy, I love that man. Oh my God.
What a rookie year this
Yeah.
man's having for the New York Football Giants.
And DeAndre Baker as well. I enjoyed watching him last year. It's a little more recent for me just because I started watching actually the year that we beat Hawaii in the Sugar Bowl.
Ooh.
That was the first
Oh,
year
Brennan year.
Yes, that was a wonderful year. Matthew Stafford has to always go on my list too. I was a semi-Detroit Lions fan all this time, and I'm now hoping he does a lot with the Rams because the Rams now have the all-Georgia offense. Stafford
That's true.
And Tony Michelle. So you can't go wrong there. The only thing I hate is when the fun story about my favorite players, Nick Chubb and Sony Michel were two of my favorite players to ever step foot on UGA's campus. And you see the flag behind me, people on YouTube. I see Chubb get drafted to Cleveland, and I immediately hated it.
It's not great for you.
Yeah.
No.
And then to add salt on the wound, Sony Michel gets drafted to the New England Patriots.
Also not great.
No. But, I mean, I'm happy for them. They both do great. I have plenty of fun players like Muhammad Massaquoi. Can't go wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Fromm can be on that list, too. He was very fun. I'll never forget that game against Notre Dame that he had in Notre Dame in Notre Dame, considering half the stadium, over 75% was red and black.
Georgia North.
Another fun Georgia story, too. I was actually at the Georgia-North Carolina kickoff game, and if you guys remember, that was the Jacob Eason game.
Yeah.
When he came in the third quarter, and also Nick Chubb's first game from his ACL injury. So a lot of my favorite players come from moments that I remember, like Aaron Murray against Tennessee. The end of the game didn't end the way we want to, so we throw that out the window. But his pass that he had down the field with, I believe, like 16 seconds left, and that's
unbelievable play. Forgotten about play because of the way that the game ended, but that was an unbelievable moment.
I also feel like I have way too many in-person moments for Georgia because now I remember them all being on this podcast. I was at the Georgia-South Carolina game when we beat them 59 something, and Spurrier retired after the game.
Yes.
I was there too, listening to it on the way home. I was like, oh, Steve Spurrier announced his retirement. I'm like, we broke this man. We actually broke this man.
That's what this Georgia team has been doing all year to teams, players, coaches, defensive coordinators, breaking all of them.
You guys remember when Arkansas was a top 10 team?
I don't.
I know.
I do.
No.
I do not. Last question, and I know that let's go combine your two worlds then. If the Steelers could draft one player off this Georgia team, it's got to take into account fit and like need and talent. If the Steelers are going to draft a player off this Georgia team, who's it going to be?
Well, Tyson Alualu just got hurt for the entire year, so our starting defensive tackle is Isaiah Dawgs. We do need a quarterback as well. Ben is 40. JT Daniels would be fun, but I just don't think we've seen enough of him to say NFL quarterback.
He's not getting drafted this year because he's coming back to Georgia, Ethan.
Yeah, I do think he will come back. I have told people that there's no point of him going to the NFL because his draft stock has plummeted. But if I had to say anybody, I know it's a homer pick, but Jordan Davis alongside Stephon Tuitt, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Devin Bush, and Joe Schobert, defenses can give up, or offenses can give up. I mean, realistically, would you rather have Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, and Aaron Donald, or TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Jordan Davis, Devin Bush, and Alex Highsmith?
That's filthy.
It's a nasty proposition.
If I did have to choose someone else, just Eric Ebron, go to free agency. We'll take Brock Bowers now. We'll just put
right now
Freiermuth and Brock Bowers in the same offense, and we'll make it work.
That's so good. I can't wait. Look, I don't. This is going to be hard for Steelers fans that are on here because they know you and they know that. NFL to me, I can't watch. I try, but college football is so much better. But I tune in for guys like Roquan to the Bears game. Brock Bowers is somebody I would tune into a game that he's playing, like in Pittsburgh against anybody, like the Jets or the Patriots or something like that. Like, give me that all day long because he's going to be a freak so much. Ethan, where can the people find you? Remind them again one more time, Twitter handle or what you are on and where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan or at Locked On Pirates. It is the baseball offseason. Of course, you see Atlanta Braves all over the place. Congratulations to you guys. I'm hoping the Pirates get there in 2025 when I'm 27 years old and already have kids. But anyways, if you want to hear me listen to talk about I talk about baseball too sometimes, not just the Pirates. But if you want to hear me talk about that stuff, you can. You can follow me on Twitter though at MVP_Ethan, as mentioned, to where I usually talk about the games. I talk about the Steelers, the Clippers, the Dogs, the Pirates, and the Penguins usually. Soccer, we go all over the place. I usually just talk about whatever. Yeah, lots of interesting places for my fandom. I'm kind of Pittsburgh, Georgia, and then LA, and then it just all goes all over.
Hey, that's the whole country. I believe you've circled the whole country on the map.
Have. And then if you go all the way to Manchester, then I'm a City fan. You make it work.
Oh, geez, there we go.
Listen, listeners and viewers of the podcast, do Clint and I a personal favor.
Yes.
I don't care if you're not a Pirates fan.
Don't care.
Go subscribe to the Locked On Pirates podcast. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Locked On Pirates YouTube channel. Do us a favor. Do Ethan a favor because he's a dog and you're a dog, and that's what fans do. So go subscribe to those channels and hit him up and listen to all that content there. Ethan, thanks for coming on the pod. We'll have you on again at some point in this historic season. We will be back tomorrow with locks, giving out all of our predictions for the weekend of college football. And we will talk to you guys then.